Have you ever wanted to make your own dimension by stealing chunks of other dimensions in Minecraft? Yeah, me too. So this is what this origin specifically does. So this is the space breaker origin made by the Discord user Ghost from the Origins Discord. And yeah, it basically allows you to turn this barren, icy wasteland into that green, luscious forest. And yeah, before I get into this video, I just want to mention that according to YouTube statistics, only a small percentage of my videos are actually subscribed. So if you like this video, please consider subscribing. It's free and it helps out a ton. And watch until the end to find out how you can make your own dimension. And yeah, let's get into it. So I am first going to be covering most of the downsides of this origin. So your first downside is fragile. Basically, you have 3 less hearts than a human. Pretty self-explanatory. More exhaustion, you burn hunger faster. Also, it's pretty self-explanatory. And you have hydrophobia. Also pretty self-explanatory. But your next downside, being combustion, is one I'm very uncertain. So according to the description, it says that the air of your own dimension is very combustible. So this is very trippy for me, at least, because I don't understand whether you're actually taking more damage from fire or like explosion damage. So I'm not exactly sure, but it's one of the two. I'm sure about that. And you also have an ability called Pacific but dangerous. I'm sure it's meant to be pacifist, but what it basically means is that if I just get myself, I'm in peaceful. I don't have to explain this that much. Basically, every time you hit a mob, because you're a pacifist, you have a slight chance of getting the slowness effect. So yeah, that's about it for the downsides. And yeah, let's get into the positive abilities. Moving on to your positive abilities, you have an ability called pacifist but dangerous. Basically, if I just get myself an iron golem, and if I hit it, you'll see that I did 5 hearts of damage, despite only having a netherite sword, which does only 8 hearts of damage. So you basically deal more damage with your weapons. And yeah, that's about it. You also have an ability called light, where basically if you sprint jump, you'll jump higher than a normal player, like as you can see. You also have an ability that makes it so that if you press your save hotbar key, it's defaultly set to no key, like it doesn't have a key by default, so you're gonna have to set it in your controls. So if you just press it, it'll make a personalized script where you can store your items, and I don't think they drop after you die. I'm not exactly sure about that one because I didn't test this ability out much because I already knew about it. Like, the idea of it is pretty simple. And yeah, you also have an ability called white hole. Basically, if you press your secondary key, all mobs around you will gain Wither 2 for about 10 seconds. This does have a 2-minute and 30-second cooldown because you're a pacifist and it takes, it's not easy for you to deal damage because it's against your way of living, I guess. So yeah, that's about it. You have a long cooldown and you deal. Let's move on to the next positive ability. Moving on to your next ability, you have unique power. Basically, if you press your primary key, you will load into this dimension and you'll take basically a chunk out of the world that you are standing in and you'll place it in your own dimension. Now, how you get back to your own dimension is that you have to stand in this teleported chunk and then you have to press your primary key while crouching. But yeah, this is your dimension. You do have to install a separate data pack that will be inside the unzipped folder for this to actually exist. It'll have patches of water in it, and yeah, you will automatically be set to adventure mode in this, so you can break blocks. And yeah, and in this dimension you can also fly, as you see, when you sprint. So you can't deal so other mobs can deal damage to you, but you can still deal damage to them in this dimension. And if they're in the chunk that you loaded into this dimension, you're basically guaranteed to kill them because they can't do anything to you while you can't do anything to them. Yeah. Also, one block traveled in this dimension is 8 blocks traveled in the overworld, basically meaning this can be used for fast travel. I do like the aspect of that you have to teleport back to your own dimension within the same entry point, so that you can just go. Like if I press my primary key while crouching, right now I'm pressing it, you won't teleport, but if you use it in here, you will. So basically you can make your own dimension however you want. So even though I came from that chunk, I can go into this chunk and press my primary key while crouching. I'll get blindness for a few seconds and I'll be teleported back. So this can basically be used to make waypoints, and yeah, it's a very easy form of travel. And you also have an ability called air food. Basically, you don't have to eat when you're in this dimension because it satisfies your hunger. And yeah, that's about it. I really like the concept of you having your own dimension, but it's basically empty. Another thing to also mention is that this is a cold biome from my experience, because when it rains in the overworld, it actually snows in here. And any water that you bring in here will actually slowly turn into ice, as you can see that with water before. So yeah. And yeah guys, that's it for this origin. I know that I covered this pretty quickly despite this being a very decently sized origin, not too complex. But yeah, I think this is a very balanced origin because it's not too overpowered, but I mean it is a bit overpowered because your downsides aren't really much of a thing when you can actually just teleport to your own dimension where nothing can hurt you and you can hurt anything. So it's a bit overpowered. I wish that was changed so that you can't hurt anything as well. Also, dealing more damage thing just adds to it. So I also wish that was changed. But I really like the concept of this origin because, like, I mean, it's not every day that you come across an origin with such a unique ability. Like, this ability, to my knowledge, has not been used by any other origin. And I really like the originality of this origin. Like, it's a really cool concept that you can only enter, like you can only exit this dimension from a place where you entered, and it can be anywhere basically. So you could just fill this entire part of this dimension with overworld chunks, nether chunks, and then just like make your own dimension. That is a really good concept in my opinion. I don't know if you can actually do this in the nether. I haven't tested it out yet. But if you can, that just adds to it. I just really wish that doing damage was not a thing in this dimension for you as well, because it makes it unfair to like other entities. For example, if you're playing on a multiplayer server and your friend is trying to kill you, and if you just teleport yourself into this dimension along with him, they are basically just screwed, because I mean they can't do anything to you, and you do more damage, you can't exhaust. It's just a whole array of like overpowered abilities. So yeah, I wish that was really changed. This origin was like published, like made public quite a while ago, so I'm not exactly sure if it's for 1.16 or 1.17. It works perfectly in 1.17. I don't know about 1.16, but yeah, I really like this origin. Ghost did a very good job of making it. Yeah, I can spell English, okay? So yeah. You also, another thing to mention is that if you put yourself in creative mode, a few seconds after that, it'll actually just turn you back into adventure mode. It's how they keep you, make sure that you don't break any blocks. So a couple of things I wish were changed in this origin. I wish you couldn't actually deal damage in your own dimension, because I mean it's a bit overpowered, as I told in the I told that. I also wish the particle effect. I really don't like this. Like, the particle effects are not consistent at all. Like, they happen like once every 3 seconds, and when they do, they're just too much. Like, I wouldn't mind once every 3 seconds, but sometimes it can just blind your vision if you're like trying to do something important. This can just get in the way. I wish the particle effects were either reduced and made more consistent, or just reduced in general, or just made even less consistent. Yeah, I just really, it's really annoying. But other than that, this was a very well thought out origin. I really like this, like more than the others that I've covered in this channel. Like even more than my own origins, which I really like personally. So it's a big thing coming from me. And yeah, that's about it for this video. If you want the download link, a lot of people have been asking me this, but after you download mine or this origin, you have to unzip the file and then put the folders that are in the file into your data packs folder, just making it clear. So put the file that's inside the extracted folder into your data packs folder. I know that it's a bit more work than usual, but I usually forget to actually like extract the two major files and just extract the folder that they are in. So you're gonna have to do that because I just forget. And that's also part of this origin. I mean, this origin gets an excuse because like it has two data pack folders, because one of them is for the dimension and the other is the actual origin. So yeah, if you're not subscribed, make sure you're subscribed. And until then, until the next one, I'll see you guys, I guess, in the next one. Yeah, that went so badly. I'm so sorry.